Okay. The next item on our agenda is our consent agenda. Do we have a motion to accept the consent agenda? Yes, Mr. Garland accepted. Do I have a second? Point of order.
I would like to have the student code of conduct removed from the consent agenda.
So noted. Student code of conduct is removed from the consent agenda. Let's go to all in favor of accepting the consent agenda, please signify by raising your hand. 7-0, consent agenda passes. Our next item will be the school code of conduct update. Do we have a motion to accept the school code of conduct?
I move that we accept. Second for discussion.
All right, it's been moved and accepted, or seconded. Is there any discussion?
I do have some, I want to compliment the way it was handled this time as far as the notification that the board received, information received ahead of time, and time that was allocated to go over it, and took advantage of that. There was some suggested changes made early, and even from some of the changes that I suggested in my one-on-one, I got an email this afternoon that it looked like some of those were also included. And I want to say that I think we're making progress on this. I think there's work to be done yet. But I appreciate the movement that we've made. I don't think I have voted for one of these since I've been on the board. But I think we're moving in the right direction. And with some momentum, I think we can get the situation that we're dealing with under control in the near future.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Any further discussion? All right, let's move to a vote. All in favor of accepting the student code of conduct, please signify by raising your hand. Okay, the motion passes 7-0. Next, we move down to reports and to our esteemed interim director, Dr. Huff.
Yes, sir. I'd like to call your attention to EL5, Financial Administration. This executive limitation has 12 compliance expectations to ensure that the director of schools shall not cause nor allow fiscal jeopardy or material deviation from the annual budget or budget policy adopted by the board. All revenues are scheduled to be spent in accordance with the approved budget. No funds have been borrowed to date for the current fiscal year without approval, nor have funds been expended from the fund balance without authorization. The actual ending fund balance will be greater than 3% based on current levels of revenue and expenditures. Payrolls are processed per the published calendar. All other obligations are paid in a timely manner. Purchases are made consistent with state and district procurement codes. Sufficient internal controls are in place as documented in the annual financial audits. In addition, all board accounts are audited annually by the State Comptroller's Office. Likewise, individual school accounts are audited per a contract with a certified public accountant, and receivables are pursued as appropriate. Updates regarding revenue collections, rising costs, and capital projects are provided to the board through work sessions. To conclude, any proposed changes to the budget are approved by the board and the county commission, and quarterly financial reports are provided to the board and county commission. Chairman Nelson, this concludes Executive Limitation 5, Financial Administration.
Thank you, Dr. Huff. Do I have a motion to accept EL 5? Mr. Garland, seconded by Mr. Baggett. Discussion? There being none, let's move to a vote. All in favor of accepting EL 5 as presented, raise your hand. Okay, we have 7-0.
Yes, Mr. Chair, EL 13 is Career Technical Education Program. This executive limitation has 3 compliance expectations to ensure that the director of schools shall not fail to develop high-quality high school career technical education programs. Specifically, CMCSS has reviewed local, regional, state, and national job markets to determine if our current programs are meeting the needs of students and preparing them for current and future jobs. The Graduate Hiring Expo was held this past April. 9 local businesses and industry partners with at least 5 entry-level positions open for hire participated. In 15-minute segments, human resource personnel from each participating business shared company and available position overviews, salary and benefit information, as well as application and hiring protocols. Since 2019-20, our instruction team has expanded its work with the Early Technical College, and then also they have a second cohort, including a full class of students and for HVAC and refrigeration. For 2021 school year, a 3rd cohort was added, and 8 students also participated in pharmacy technology, and we have industrial, electrical maintenance, and mechatronics. For the 21-22 school year program studying network systems was added to traditional high schools. Finally, we will continue to study our 5-year plan. Of course, this plan will adjust curriculum offerings as job market trends change. Chairman Nelson, this concludes my policy monitoring report for this evening.
Do we have a motion to accept EL 13 as presented? We have Ms. Pace. Do we have a second? Mr. Patterson, second. Discussion. There being none, let's put it to a vote. All in favor of accepting EL 13, signify by raising your hand. All right, 7-0.
Mr. Chair, our last report this evening is goal number 12, improve organizational efficiency through technology, and we have Mr. Joe Williams to present that report this evening. Mr. Williams.
Thank you, Dr. Huff, board members. Like Dr. Huff mentioned, my name is Joe Williams. I serve as a senior computer programmer for the district. For the strategic work item related to organizational efficiency through technology, by way of introduction, I'd like to have you see these items through the same lens we do. We see our department in a support role, and the programs and resources that we'll discuss this evening are possible because of, and in some cases, initiated from the innovation and dedication of our teachers, school staff, and district leaders. As I share this presentation, I hope you too will see that this is evidence of a district dedicated to using technology to create an optimal work and learning environment for our students, faculty, and staff. To begin, I'd like you to walk through the process of single sign-on. When a student logs into their district-issued device, that user authentication through single sign-on allows the student to gain access to the majority of district resources. Students and teachers can easily transition between applications without repeating the login process for each individual resource. This prevents students and teachers from losing valuable instruction time from repeating the login process for every site to which the student needs access. And you've seen before, our younger students, kindergarten, first and second graders, are provided with a quick card in their classroom. So they will log in not with a password, but through scanning a QR code. The ClassLink Launchpad is the homepage for the student after he or she logs in and opens their web browser. ClassLink optimizes and personalizes the user experience for each student by displaying only the apps that are relevant to the student's grade level, school, and class schedule. So for instance, my older daughter, who's a sophomore, and my younger daughter, who's in 7th grade, will see very different personalized launchpads based on their instructional needs and learning environment. ClassLink syncs with PowerSchool, which is the district student information system, each night to ensure there's changes made to the student's instructional needs are reflected in the available resources the following day. Here you'll see a snapshot of our work order numbers. Work orders can include general troubleshooting, hardware repair, software and report development, and training. To date, our teams have resolved over 40,000 work orders for the current school year and repaired nearly 9,000 computers. As you look, you will see a significant improvement on our average time to close between last year and this year. As you know, there were many unique challenges associated with remote learning and new software to address both that remote learning and learning loss. This year, we have seen the time to close numbers return to a more normal baseline when compared to previous years. Of course, as we work to offer enhanced instruction and operations through technology, it's critical that the district avoids network connectivity or coverage issues. A few ways this has been accomplished include upgrading battery backup systems, expanding Wi-Fi coverage to the high school athletic fields, deploying Wi-Fi to school buses to extend learning opportunities for bus riders, and improving campus safety by expanding the security camera coverage, which we're in the process of including conference rooms. Along with the network availability, we want to provide a safe online learning environment for our students, which is a continuous process and ongoing discussion. The district incorporates an enterprise-level CIPA compliant firewall as a first measure against inappropriate content. Just so we don't get caught up in buzzwords and acronyms, enterprise level indicates that it's built for a corporate or university level traffic and user numbers, and CIPA is the Children's Internet Protection Act, which guides school districts with requirements if you're going to provide internet access to your students. Additionally, our team, which among others includes our network security engineer, our reporting analyst, our desktop support manager, and our chief technology officer, meet regularly to review internet activity and test filter configuration. We also have a pair of CIPA compliant software solutions, which is Content Keeper and BART, which monitors and provides reports of internet activity on district devices, on Google accounts, and Google-related district software across all devices. Firewalls, filters, and reporting are just some of the resources employed by the district to address the challenges of a safe learning environment. The other key factors are diligent management by the teacher while the student is in the classroom, and supervision by the parent while the computer is at home. There have been times in the past where parents and students have reached out to report content they felt was inappropriate, and we appreciate that cooperation and feedback and work with the firewall provider to strengthen that process. We are working with the technology integration coaches and the communication department on a plan to share best practices and resources that can be employed by school staff and families to help contribute to a safer online learning experience and better understanding of digital citizenship. As I mentioned in the beginning, much of our work centers around partnering with other departments and school locations to identify areas of improvement and work with staff to bring those ideas to fruition. These initiatives allow us to utilize the creativity and mindset of the members of all departments. Much of the software that we develop, the reports we create, and processes that we automate began as an idea or opportunity conceived from staff outside of the technology department. Some of those current and future projects include for business affairs, the development of the stipend pay website, which allows employees to enter hours and duties performed for stipend or extra pay, and an online platform for submission, approval, and processing. And a common thing you'll see is these will replace paper processes, so to eliminate inefficiencies in that and improve accuracy on that data. Also, a significant upgrade to Munis, which is our HR and financial software. This is one of many third-party softwares that we upgrade frequently. However, this was one of the more significant ones. For communications, we assist with the creation of online forms and surveys to facilitate stakeholder feedback, and developed a document review portal which allows changes to be tracked and submitted for our ISO certified documents, policies, and procedures. With human resources, we expanded our employee transfer request portal, which was also developed in-house. Previously, it only allowed a request for certified staff. It now includes the ability for classified staff to submit requests for transfers to opportunities at different CMCSS locations and positions. The online retirement portal is another application developed in-house to allow staff to notify HR of their intent to retire and fill out the necessary initial documentation online. And we are also developing an employee evaluation site to allow supervisors across the district to complete employee evaluations online for more efficient submission and storage. With the operations department, we're piloting a student ID badge that includes a school photo and barcode. Those are currently being tested at Cumberland Heights Elementary and at the West Creek Elementary, Middle, and High Schools. There's great potential for this implementation. They can be used, for instance, scanning that badge for library book checkout or admittance to after-school events. We also assist with map design and integration of GIS maps with the operations applications, which would include routing software and zoning software. Finally, with instruction and curriculum at the school level, we've implemented a Handle with Care application. I believe that's been mentioned in this before, but as a reminder, this allows school administration to be notified when a student has been involved in a situation that requires attention from the first responder so that they can be aware of any special support that student may need. We've also partnered with the National Transcript Exchange to implement an online electronic transcript request, which allows students to request counselors to send academic records to colleges, universities, and other post-secondary institutions. I know we kind of discussed the value of esports to our student body. We're working on piloting an esports program for the district for next year. And finally, we will begin development of a district data warehouse to merge information from multiple sources in order to identify trends in student learning and give more insight for data-driven decision-making related to student achievement. I know that's a lot of information. Be glad to address any questions or anything I can.
So with the ID cards that you're working with, will that also allow you to track where a student is in the building?
It opens up a lot of possibilities. I don't want to speak too soon on that, but certainly we're excited about everything that will allow us to accomplish, again, in terms of efficiency.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
Thanks so
Williams.
much for your time.
One of the reasons that ID card was put in place was it could identify whether a child's on a bus or not. And so for efficiency and safety, that's why it was integrated. And those other integrations are just allowable under that card. So we've got a pilot going on with that for school.
Thank you. And next item is on the board discussion is new director of school selection. And at this point, I'll turn it over to Mr. Noel.
Thank you, good evening. This has been as everybody knows, a several month process, and tonight, we'll be one step closer for the board to making a decision. So, to begin that discussion and consideration for the new director of the Parks and Montgomery County School System, do I have a motion to discuss each of the 4 candidates for the director of schools position?
I move.
Starla. Second. Second. Any discussion? Call for a vote. All those in favor, discussing each of the 4 candidates? Motion passes. All right, so we now will discuss each of the candidates in turn. I will present them, and you may discuss them in order in which they were interviewed by the board. So we will begin with Angela Huff. Any discussion?
You know, I thought we were just going to discuss what we saw when we walked into the building. As far as Dr. Huff, I thought her response to the question was very detailed. But overall, I mean, and I hope I'm not out of order, and I'm probably going to be. As I sat and watched all 4 of those candidates, I knew each one of them individually, and it made me proud to know that they all came out of CMCSS. They were very technical, they're very competent and capable. But Dr. Huff, the questions that we asked, she focused on the things that we're doing in Clarksville and Montgomery County, and that made me feel proud to know that detail and the detail that she brought to the table.
Are we going in order, Mr. Attorney?
You can go in what order y'all want.
Okay. I'll make mine short and brief. We had 4 outstanding candidates, and I'm not a mind reader or fortune teller or whatever, but I predict all 4 of these candidates will be directors of schools somewhere, someplace. They all 4 presented themselves very well, and I predict that they all have a future to be a director somewhere in the future. Thank you.
I think Charlie read my notes. That's what I wanted to say, that there are 4 outstanding candidates, and that really makes the decision tonight difficult. Each have their own unique strengths and the levels and degrees of education and experience and accomplishments. Any one of the candidates will excel, as he said. They're all intelligent, capable leaders, and always will surround themselves with the same, with feel this board will fully support any candidate chosen tonight. We appreciate that.
I just want to say that all four candidates were impressive. All of them are competent, they're doctors, they're experienced, and we would be proud for either one of them to represent Clarksville and Montgomery County as director of schools. But as we know, we can only select one. But I would say, as the others have said, all of these candidates are more than capable and will serve as directors of school, I believe, in the future. Thank you for applying and continue to do what's good for children.
I would echo what's already been said. I would also add that I spent a lot of time having conversations with teachers, administrators, central office staff, parents, trying to get as much feedback as I possibly could when thinking about who we were going to be selecting here. And it provided me with several different lenses to consider as we go through this process, a lot of valuable information. This is the third director search I've been through in my time on the board, and I will say this is, to me, the most difficult one because of what everybody's already mentioned, due to the quality of the field of candidates that we have. And I think it's a good place to be. I think it's a place we would a lot rather be, having a hard, tough decision to make than trying to struggle to search for someone to fill this seat. And I just want to thank all the candidates for their interest and their participation during the process.
Okay. Well, and I had said we would ask for any, most of you giving comments in a general sense. Does anybody have specific comments about Angela Huff? Anybody that you haven't already met?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
I had said I was just gonna mention all of the four candidates that you have interviewed, and if you wanted to make any specific comments regarding any of them. Obviously, you interviewed Angela Huff first, so if you have any other additional comments you want to say about her, now would be the time to do so. Or anybody else? All right, Mason Bellamy, your second candidate. Specific comments that y'all want to make about Mr. Bellamy? Or Jean Wood, any specific comments anybody wants to make about her? All right, and Sean and Perry. All right. Is there any further discussion about any of the candidates, specifically or generally? All right. If there's no further discussion, then we will close the discussion at this time, and we'll move forward with the nomination and voting process. This board had adopted a policy some time ago, 2008, I think the last time. There were changes to define how this process would go forward. GP 11 says that the board will determine the next director of schools by following that policy, GP 11. That policy calls for nominations. No second is required for any nomination. Once we have the nominations in, we will then call for a vote, and the vote will be by ballot. And each of you will put your name and your vote on the ballot and pass those to me. I will then read each vote aloud. A candidate must receive 4 votes to be selected. If no candidate receives 4 votes on the first round, there will be a revote. If there are more than 2 candidates that have votes, it will be narrowed down to the top 2 candidates for the revote. If no candidate receives 4 votes, we will call for another revote. And after 3 votes, if it appears that no selection is possible, we will reopen the floor for nominations and discussion. So, that being said about the process, I think hopefully everybody understands that. Any questions about the process? Okay. I will now open the floor for nominations.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Angela Huff.
Garland.
Mr. Chair, I nominate Dr. Jean Luna Vetta.
Thank you, Mr. Patterson. Any other nominations?
Mr. Nolan, I'd like to go ahead and nominate, Dr. Sean Burgess.
Thank you, Mr. Nelson. Any other nominations? All right. Hearing that there are no additional nominations, the nominations have been closed at this time. I've given each of you a ballot. On that ballot, if you will write round one, then if you will write your name, write the district that you are representing, and who you are casting your vote for. You may vote for Angela Huff, Jean Luna Vetter, or Sean Imperatrice. You cast one vote for one of those three. Once you've cast your vote, fold it and pass it to me. All right. Now we've got 7 votes. All right, let me write this down.
Have you done this before?
Usually it's jury forms and slips, so it's usually a little different. Okay. I will read your votes in order by your district. Carol Berry, District 1, Angela Huff. Margaret Pace, District 2, Jean Luna Vetter. Herb Nelson, District 3, Sean Imperatrice. Kent Griffey, District 4, Jean Luna Vetter. Jimmy Garland, District 5, Angela Huff. Charlie Patterson, District 6, Jean Luna Vetter. Josh Baggett, District 7, Jean Luna Vetter. So by the tally of the votes, Jean Luna Vetter has 4 votes, Angela Huff has 2 votes, Sean Imperatrice has 1 vote. Pursuant to GP 11, Jean Luna Vetter has the majority of the votes. She will be the next director of school pursuant to you approving a contract with Dr. Vetter. Are there any questions about the votes or that process? All right. I will give these all votes. Okay.
Mr. Attorney, are you through? Is that part?
I'm through with the vote. The vote is concluded.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion on that.
Okay, what is your motion, Mr. Pastor?
My motion would be that we make, this board has always acted as a whole, And I would request that we would move to have an unanimous vote for Dr. Lynn Bell. So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion's been made and seconded. Is there any discussion?
I abstain.
Call for the vote. Anybody, any other discussion? All right, all those in favor? 6-0.
Well, I'm in the mood for a motion. I can make another motion.
Yes, Mr. Patterson?
Thank you. I would like to make a motion that the chairman, Mr. Nelson, appoint 2 members to work with our attorney, Mr. Nolan, and bring back to a board for approval of a contract between Clarksville Montgomery School System and Dr. Lena Bell.
Okay.
So moved.
Is there a second for that motion? Second. All right, any discussion concerning that motion?
Have discussion.
Okay.
I think that it would be, I think it's intent may have been, maybe an amendment is necessary, Charlie, for the chairperson to appoint himself and 2 members for a total of 3 to the committee.
That was my intention, Mr. Griffith. I appreciate you.
If you'd like the chance.
And I would accept Mr. Griffith's amendment.
All right. Any other discussion? All right, let's vote. All those in favor of the motion? Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Chairman, besides yourself, would you like to appoint to this subcommittee to help assist in drafting the contract with the new director?
Mr. Nolan, I would like to appoint Mr. Griffith and Mr. Gordon.
Gentlemen? Okay.
The 2 Gs.
Okay, so that subcommittee, we will meet, review contract, and discuss contract options. We will then discuss that with Dr. Vedder. But the contract will be brought back to the board for full discussion and approval at a later date. So it is not official until this board votes on it and approves it. So that is all for that. Mr. Chairman, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Nolan. We are now opening for comments. Fort Campbell School Liaison Officer.
No comments at this time.
Thank you. CMCEA representative.
Good evening. First, I want to thank you all for the opportunity given to employees during the Director of School interviews last week. And I would also like to thank Anthony Johnson and the Communication Department for an outstanding job facilitating the employee sessions as well as ensuring employees could watch the sessions live streamed or recorded for viewing at their own convenience. During the employee questions session last week, you may have noticed many of the questions asked by CMCEA members were data-driven questions. The collaborative conferencing team has administered 2 surveys this school year to all certified employees. And the data from these surveys have provided the collaborative conferencing team with some great talking points and areas which to strive for improvement. You have heard some of this data, and tonight I would like to share a little more. 60% of respondents in our survey said that they do not have concerns about physical safety at work. Our employees feel safe. 54% do not feel like any increase in the working conditions had compelled them to retire or retire early. 82% really liked the January 6th Zoom option for professional development and would like to see that option available more. As you may have heard in the question session, the 67% of the respondents have sought or thought about seeking alternate employment. And these are the top 5 reasons why they gave for wanting to seek alternate employment: behavior and discipline, workload, pay, lack of professional respect, physical or mental health. 91% of respondents' student behavior discipline impeded, impeded effectively from them completing their job responsibilities, and 61% of that 91% said it occurred on a daily basis. 64% said there was an increase in the workload from the first semester. 67% indicated an increase in stress. 62% sought additional supports for mental or physical health. And 72% had seen no change in lesson plan expectations from the first semester. 64% of the respondents says they did not feel valued as an employee. The collaborative conferencing team as a whole this year, CMCEA representing the professional side and the management side, are working together to resolve these issues. I understand the conversations in the collaborative conferencing meetings this year have been robust at times, and they have been productive. And I have all the confidence in the world in this team to come together to help us to resolve the problems that the employees in this system feel like that they are facing. And I thank you for the opportunity to share those feelings and the survey results with you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is PET representative.
Good evening, Dr. Huffman Board. Last week was a busy week as we all listened to potential candidates and asked questions to determine who would be the best to lead our district. These were excellent candidates, and we know the choice is difficult to make. We trust as a board that you considered the candidate who communicated their passion to ensure the best education for all students, and one who will be willing to invest the time on our district to once again prove that we are the educational leaders in the state of Tennessee. Last week I gave you some bills that we have been very instrumental in writing and passing, and I want to update you on a few this week. Number one, we allowed a bill that was students to have more time to take tests, one that moved testing to the end of the school year. We passed the first bill, and unfortunately the Tennessee Department of Ed opposed the second bill. Although they do agree that teachers and students need more time to cover and master content before tests are administered. We also worked extremely hard to address the teacher shortage, as we know we have in the district as well. We worked with the department to expand the Grow Your Own initiative. We do not think it solves the problem, but it is certainly a pathway forward. As a district, we should be proud that we gained state and national recognition for this initiative. We also worked on temporary teaching permits, House Bill 1901, Senate Bill 1863. It extends for another 2 years temporary teaching permits to teach certain courses and subjects where vacancies are hard to fill. We also added vice principals to legislation so they can get reciprocal licensure. We had passed principals and administrators the year before. Also, the limited license pathway allows teachers holding a temporary teaching permit to apply to the state for a practitioner's license before the permit expires. We work to allow retired teachers and bus drivers to return to the classroom if they desire. Through 2025, retired teachers and bus drivers can be reemployed as a teacher, substitute teacher, or bus driver without having their retirement benefits taken away or suspended. Currently, retired teachers can return to work, but only for 120 days maximum. The change would allow workers to return for an entire school year if there are no other qualified applicants. During reemployment in the school system, retirement benefits would be reduced to 70% of retirement allowance, and the existing salary cap would be removed. We will work on that moving forward to expand it. States like Florida and Louisiana are already doing it. Occupational teaching licenses amends qualifications necessary to receive an occupational teaching license to address the shortage of instructors for vocational and career and technical education programs. We think that will be a growing concern moving forward. One of the major problems with finding career and technical teachers is figuring out how we can pay them for their experience. We also worked on eliminating the praxis as a requirement in the first part of the session, but ended up with compromising language that would make the state pay for it. The legislation did pass the education committees, but that's where it stayed. So as you can see, we've been quite busy advocating for teachers and for students, and we'll continue to do so. Just because we're getting ready for summer break doesn't mean we take a break. Schools may be coming to a close for the summer, but we will continue working to uplift and empower students and teachers. As a reminder, it is not too late to sign up for Leader U, June 7th, our education conference. So if you go to our website, we would love to have you. Thank you, Board.
Thank you. Comments from county commissioners?
I'd just like to make a comment. I encountered, taking my grandchild down to the testing center at the CMCSS South Building. Very well organized. The traffic, it's all there. She was out there holding up her little sign. Very organized, how to get in and out before you go. Kudos to you. Thank you.
And
Which school was that?
One of my grandchildren.
I know, which school?
It's virtual. It's virtual testing.
board members, any comments? There being none, we'll go to the director of schools report.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chair. I have a couple of items that I wanted to share with you. Mr. Huffman, if you could let the slide down, please. So over the weekend, we had some of our teachers to graduate from Lipscomb, from our teacher residency program. So here's a picture of them. This is not all of them. This is about 16 of them, but they were in a year-and-a-half program from Lipscomb, and so they received their master's degree, and they are duly certified in regular ed and special ed. So we're so very proud of them, and wanted you to see a picture of a few of them from their graduation. They are very excited, and a couple of statements that they have made. Here's one. It says, "It's always been my dream to have a master's in education. I am more than grateful for the opportunity to grow and learn from such an excellent university. I'm very thankful to CMCSS for allowing me the honor of participating in this program with the finest group of ladies in our community." Another comment is, I want to say thank you to everyone in CMCSS that had a hand in making this happen for us from the bottom of my heart. Because of you, my dream, one that I thought was impossible, came true. I am forever grateful to have been given this opportunity of a lifetime. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And congratulations to all of the ladies that I graduated alongside with. We did it. So they're very appreciative of the program, your support in this program, and so I wanted you to see a picture of our graduates that will be starting out with us. Okay, next slide, please. Of course, yesterday we had our retired celebration, and so we honored over about 147 retirees, and according to Janine, that represents 2,290 hours of dedicated service to our students. Years, I'm sorry, years, yes. Years, yes. So thank you, Ms. Johnson, for that information. But we had a lot of fun yesterday in this room, honoring our retirees, and so we're very happy about that. And then one last comment I'd like to make is, Board, I just want to publicly thank you for the honor in allowing me to serve as the interim. I know my term is not up yet, but I want to thank you for that honor. And it was a dream fulfilled for me to have that honor, and I thank you for allowing me to do so. All right, that concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Huff. And we stand adjourned.